If you feel stuck and frustrated because you are not getting the traction and progress that you want to be, watch this video. So you might notice today's background is a little bit different than what you are used to. I'm currently here in the province of Umbria in Italy for a short yearly family reunion that we try to do once a year. And not long before coming here, I organized the largest crypto marketing event of the entire cycle. And it was an incredible success and it blew all expectations that I had. Over 6,000 people tuned into the live event, 2,000 people registered for it, and the feedback that I got from it has just been nothing but incredible. But here's what I want to share with you. It was my very frustration and sense of feeling stuck that led me to this. Let me explain. Since the middle of 2025, a sense of frustration started to grow in me because I was feeling stuck around the same level in business for the last almost year now. I've been hovering between that 150 to 200K per month for a while now. And I was starting to feel stuck, and that was creating a sense of frustration in me. But it was only after speaking to a good friend of mine who also runs a business in Web2, our businesses are around the same size, about 2M per year, that I realized that I was ready for my next big challenge. So I thought, what is the biggest thing I can currently undertake? I was like, okay, what if I were to launch the biggest crypto marketing event of the entire cycle? I set my mind to it. But here's what happened next. I went into a phase of planning, strategizing, brainstorming, mapping out my funnel, starting to map out what the course curriculum is going to look like, starting to map out all the small details and intricacies. And guess what happened to my sense of frustration and the anxiety that comes with that? It didn't disappear. It grew. It grew a lot, to the point where this event was taking all my mind share. It was taking all my time. I couldn't but think of that. And it was creating a sense of anxiety that I hadn't felt in a while. And it was only when I set a hard date on the calendar and I let all my team know, hey guys, October 22nd is going to be the big launch. And I made a commitment to myself and to my team that this was the date that it was going to happen. And what happened during that phase is I went from a state of planning, strategizing, theorizing to execution. And the moment I moved from a state of planning to a state of executing, the sense of feeling stuck, the anxiety that came with that, it all vanished. Because now it was time to execute. And what this made me realize, which was a very well needed reminder, frustration happens in life when you're stuck in the planning stage. And us entrepreneurs, and I'm guilty of this, we have a tendency to spend a lot of time in the over planning stage than we do in the executing. And the psychological reason why this is frustrating is because the brain does not know the difference between planning and doing. It thinks it's doing progress. But the thing about planning is you're actually not getting the feedback that comes with the doing. It's almost like sitting there, closing your eyes, and then over planning how is it that you're going to be asking your dream girl out. You've rehearsed every single interaction. If she says this, I'm gonna say this. If she reacts that way, I'm gonna react that way. You've planned it all, but then you realize after all that planning that you're still single. The brain just did all this work without the outcome that comes with this work, without the dopamine that comes at the end of the journey. And this is how I felt. I was doing progress. I mapped out all the funnels, but the moment I went into a state of doing, I was actually executing, is when I actually realized the whole thing that I was theorizing about how my funnel should look, it actually doesn't look that good in practice. I should do this instead. The doing in and of itself is the best way to get good at the thing. My guarantee to you right now is if you are feeling stuck, it is very likely because you are spending a lot of time in the thinking and in the strategizing than you are in the actual doing, in the things that ultimately will get you good at what you do. Now, obviously, it is important to have a plan once you go into doing, but the trick is not getting stuck over planning on variables that we don't even know. The best way to get good at asking your dream girl out is by asking girls out. That is the only thing, because the doing will give you the feedback. There's a very famous story about a pottery teacher where at the beginning of the semester, she took her class and she separated it into two. She told group one, your goal is to create the one most beautiful pottery you can think of. Group number two, she said, your goal is to make as many potteries as you possibly can. And you're going to be graded on whoever can create the most beautiful piece. And guess what happened? The group who was tasked to do as many pottery pieces as possible ended up getting a better grade than the group who was tasked with doing just one. So this is my invitation to you. If you're watching this, move from a state of planning and strategizing into a state of doing. Set your goal. Ask yourself, what would need to happen for this to be a success? And then execute on it. And let the journey itself be your feedback as to how you should travel the journey in the first place.